Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Make sure you check out my website, Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with two D's, Tuddle.net. The reason that I want to give you that website, and I'm going to stop probably at the end of the week. Hell, I'm probably promoting something that's already done, but there is a banner right there at the top that you can vote for me for best podcasts not on the radio in the Orlando Weekly Best of Orlando yearly competition that they do. When you go there, make sure you're going to have to write me in as the Tuddle Daily Podcast. But also, when you go to my website, Tuddle.net, you're going to be able to find every single thing you need to know about me by going to Tuddle.net. If you missed last night's live stream on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle, you really missed a good one. I would like to hear from you guys because I had some really, really good numbers last night. I think that you guys really enjoyed having, well, I didn't get Dakota on camera, but I was able to get Nicole. I would like to hear what you think because, you know, they have been spending a lot of time out on the streets. Yeah, I said streets, people. And they're down here from North Carolina. They have become, you know, pretty good friends. And no, I don't want any of you guys to think, oh, Tuddle's, you know, taking care of them, doing whatever. No, I'm not doing any of that bullshit. Like, I'm not. They are just friends. I'm not like all these other guys that think, oh, yes, my dick, my penis is so amazing that it is going to turn lesbians from liking vagina into just worshiping my penis. No, that is the furthest thing from the truth, people. I just have a good time with him, and I've been learning a lot of stuff and getting a lot of great content. And isn't that what this is about? This whole show, finding interesting people, good people to be able to talk to. I mean, it is. That's what I love about talk radio. That's what I love about podcasts, because you get to meet people that you usually do not get to meet on a regular basis if you're working other jobs. And I met these two people, Dakota and Nicole, and we're actually going to do a live stream tonight at 8, maybe even a little bit earlier, from the Daytona Beach Boardwalk, because they know, everybody down there knows Dakota and Nicole. And I think traveling with the Wi-Fi hotspot and then just traveling around interviewing as many people as we can, finally get Dakota on camera tonight. I would like to hear back from you, though. What did you think of last night's YouTube live stream? There's a couple of ways you can get a hold of me. You can email me, Tuddle@gmail.com, or leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. The first story that I want to get into, I know that it is a little local, but I also think that it kind of pertains to a lot of people. You know, dealing last year with the pandemic, especially here in the state of Florida. A lot of you guys don't realize this, that in the state of Florida, we don't have a state income tax, which means is that we get our federal income tax. We get that, okay? But we don't get taxed by our government because there is a 6-cent sales tax. It always sounds weird to say 6 cents, like the movie. But no, it's actually 6 cents on every dollar you spend goes to pay for everything in the state of Florida. Now, Florida, they count on a certain amount of people to come into the state every single day. That's why they say Florida's economy is like a Ponzi scheme. But we also rely on the tourists. That is the money that we want. We want that money to be able to come in because that is outside money that is going to stay here in the state of Florida. But with the pandemic, we did not get that. We did not get that at all, and a lot of people are not thinking about how much of under budget we're going to be here in the state of Florida. Florida already has the worst school systems. So can you imagine the schools now being even more underfunded than what they are? Teachers are going to have to spend even more of their own salary to be able to help kids have paper. I don't even know why they would use paper anymore. Just go all laptops. I think they kind of are. Pencils, just whatever the school materials that they're using today. Now, I don't know why this has become such a big issue. And it all comes down to the religious people. It does. It all comes down to big tobacco, big alcohol, and the religious people. You love how I grouped those three together? There is a bill that we voted on like 2 years ago for it to be able for the citizens of the state of Florida to be able to vote on if gambling should be happening here in the state of Florida. And I don't want people to think that they are just letting it eat. They're going to let a bunch of people out there gambling. I mean, we're all grown adults. I get it. But the Seminole Tribe here in the state of Florida, and I could be wrong by this, but I think that the Seminole Tribe is the only tribe in the United States that has never, ever surrendered to the United States government. And we really screwed over the Indians. We did. Our European ancestors screwed over African Americans, and we screwed over Indians as well, too. But I have no problem with the Seminole Tribe owning and running casinos. And a lot of these people are getting just uptight about the whole situation. Number two, if we legalize gambling in the state of Florida and marijuana, look at all the money that Colorado is just making hand over fist. And I'm telling you right now, people, with the 6-cent sales tax, with the tourists, legalize marijuana, like fully recreational, legalized marijuana and gambling run by the Seminole Casino. You know, I've said a lot of bad things about Ron DeSantis, but if Ron DeSantis can get this thing done, I absolutely will say, you know what, Ron? Even though I think you're an asshole, you got one through, and I appreciate it, buddy. Good for you.
Today, gambling is set to take center stage in the Florida House.
The gaming expansion, which would bring billions of dollars in revenue to the state, it sailed through the Senate. Ada's on your side right now with Beth Rousseau, and Beth is live on this Wednesday with a fresh look at why some aren't on board with the bill. Good morning, Beth.
I mean, you guys always know that I have a thing for, like, just women news reporters. Like, I absolutely adore them. I think that it is the hottest profession that a woman can have. I'm not trying to sexualize. I'm not trying to be a chauvinistic, but man, this new girl, I've been away from Tampa for a while, but man, she is absolutely gorgeous. And I know that I should not just judge her on her looks. I should wait to hear her reporting just to see if she's a good reporter or not. But holy Jesus almighty, God, Russo, just you have the floor.
Good morning to you both. And one of the big issues for those who are opposed to this 30-year deal is that it would allow Floridians to bet on sports via their phone or online, even when they're not on tribal property.
Seriously, though, this is not Russo's fault there, but whoever is the field producer should be fired immediately. Like, seriously, I have a microphone and I'm recording this whole podcast on an iPhone 12 with a directional microphone, and I could be standing out near US 1 right now, and you would not hear any of the traffic going on like that. I know that it's not a big deal, but, I mean, as a field producer, you got to start thinking about that stuff, buddy, because, like, that Honda, like, with the loud-ass pipes that just went by, the little rice burner, because that's exactly what it sounded like. And it was like, meow. Like, Russo doesn't need that stuff. Look, she's the beauty, you're the beast, do your job correctly, man, or kick sand. That's all I'm saying.
So as of right now, casinos like the Hard Rock, they're allowed to offer slot machines and card games against the dealer.
See, I've only been a gambler like one time in my life, You guys all know that I have a very addictive personality, and I stopped it before it got really, really bad. But when I went to Vegas with the Monsters, yeah, I did a little bit of gambling. I lost my ass. But I got to tell you, what the great thing about it is I went to the casino, the Hard Rock Casino with Lummy one night, and I got to tell you, the dude cleaned it up. But Lummy also is a baller. He has the money to be able to do that type of stuff. But Jesus Christ almighty, man. Like, I think he walked away with a couple $100 that night, and he was playing blackjack. I have no issue at all. We are all adults. Yes, people's life, they do get addicted to gambling. Sorry, I just ate breakfast. I kind of burped there a little bit, but I'm leaving it in. Fuck it. Not editing at all. But, we're all grown adults. The people out there that want to complain about, oh, we can't allow gambling. It's going to ruin people's lives. Okay, all right. If you're so concerned about people's lives being ruined, then get rid of alcohol. Get rid of tobacco. That shit kills people every single day. Alcohol ruins families, lives, DUIs, vehicular homicide. So, yeah, if we're going to complain about gambling ruining people's lives, then we got to get rid of alcohol as well, too. Because you know what happened when we got rid of alcohol back in the day? Prohibition created organized crime. So let's not act like these gambling establishments. I could walk into any convenience store right now, right here in Volusia County, down US 1, and find you these gambling computer machines all over the place. And they're not regulated. They are not regulated one single fucking bit.
This proposal that's been approved by the Senate and is now heading to the House for a vote today would allow the tribe to offer online sports betting, craps, and roulette.
You know what the funniest thing is? I saw the press conference, and they got Ron DeSantis sitting next to the chief of the Seminole Tribe, and both of them look so uncomfortable. Like, seriously, they look so fucking uncomfortable. Because we all know that DeSantis is a Trump puppet. He has been and always will be. He kind of used Trump. And I wonder if his daddy Trump is going to be upset that DeSantis is, most likely going to run for president in the next 4 years. You know that it's going to happen. And DeSantis and the chief is just like, oh, why am I sitting next to a white man? Now, I know that he doesn't sound like that. I'm sure that he sounds just as white as I do or whatever. What does white even sound like? But what I'm trying to say is that the chief looks like he does not want to be there. But say what you want. These Indians, not dots, but feathers. I know, God, see, I got to stop being so offensive. I'm just saying, God damn it. I'm sorry. Cancel culture is going to get me. I know that it is. But what I'm trying to say is that the Indian tribes, they are smart-ass business people, and you cannot take that away from them.
Now, if this is signed into law, it's expected to bring an estimated $2.5 billion in revenue to the state over the next 30 years.
Even though that I know that it's not going to happen, but, that $2.5 billion, it could probably help us get rid of all the toll roads. I know that there are some toll roads in Tampa, and I don't know. There might be some in Jacksonville. I know for a fact that there are tolls down in my... Jesus Christ almighty. Orlando is the most tolled city in the world just because they want to get every single red penny out from the tourists' pocket strings. I mean, it is the truth. Like, it for me to get to Tampa, taking the toll roads, which is the easiest route, or route, whatever way you say it, pecan, tomato. Yeah, it costs me almost like $7 to get from Volusia County all the way over to Pasco County when I go visit Colton. So, yeah, $2.5 billion, I say let's do it if we can get rid of all the toll roads in the state of Florida, but that ain't happening.
However, it's unclear how the state would regulate the new laws without voter approval, considering Amendment 3. Amendment 3 was approved in 2018, and it gives Florida voters the exclusive right to decide whether to authorize gambling in the state.
Damn right. It should be our choice. Matter of fact, if I'm just being honest, I know that it would take a lot of time and voter turnout people would get completely burned out on it. But I think every single law should get passed in the House, the Senate, state levels or national levels. And then once it becomes up for a vote, I say that the American people should always get a chance. Because everybody's like, oh, well, we elected these officials to represent us. They don't really represent us. They don't. If you seriously wanted to get some real change made here in the United States, you would let the people vote on everything. Everybody says we are a country of a many. The people are the ones that rule the land. No, that's not true at all. We elect a bunch of people that are supposed to represent us, but they really don't, because they are beholden to the lobbyists and stuff. God, I hate getting political, but I'm just so fired up by this whole thing. Do you realize how much money, how much that could help? $2.5 billion. I know $2.5 billion is like pissing in the ocean when it comes to government spending, but I mean, that is a lot of money. I say let it eat. Let the big dog eat and let us gamble. Let us have craps. Let us have roulette. Because guess what? I'm sure on any street corner in the hood, they're throwing dice up against cardboard, and the government's not getting one single dime of that.
This is not just for the protection of me and her, but it's families out there that are struggling, and the last thing we need to do is put them further down.
Listen, I can say the N-word because I am a nerd, but what a fucking nerd. You are such a fucking nerd that you're standing next to your wife, and I guarantee you your wife made you say everything you just said because she was like, if you don't see this bitch, you ain't getting any pussy tonight. Fuck you. And then the guy's like, yeah, we can't do this. It's going to hurt so many families. Even though we sell alcohol and tobacco like it's nothing, like it's going out of style. That's exactly what we're doing. And that shit kills and ruins more people's lives than gambling will ever in its entire lifetime.
Good deal or bad deal, it is the deal that we have on the table. And I can't in good conscience turn down the money.
Man, I know this is going to be like a obscure reference and stuff, but I just got chills up my spine hearing that government official talking. I think she is a senator in Tampa. But, man, she sounds so much like Linda Bird. And the reason why, because the last time that I ever heard Linda Bird's voice, Linda Bird is considered the most powerful woman in radio. The last time I heard her voice was when she was firing me, told me to sit down on the white couch like she was Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. And I was about to get, axe murdered by her. But no, yes. But, I mean, that kind of shows you how the political system works. It's all about the money. I can't in good faith pass up this type of money. Yeah, she's probably getting her pocket stuffed by the Seminole Tribe chief or getting other things stuffed. Who knows?
Florida Senator Janet Cruz from Tampa says if this does pass, they'll likely end up in court over it. Now, it is expected to go through and pass in the House today when it goes for that vote. We're going to keep a really close eye on this for you so we can bring you updates right here on air and on the WFLA mobile app. We're live this morning. Beth Russo, 8 on your side.
Man, I'm telling you right now, as soon as I get done with this podcast, I am going to not creep out, but I'm going to creep Beth Russo's social media there. And check her out. But my God, Beth, good work. Great reporter. Beautiful, easy on the eyes. So, Beth, welcome to Tampa. I'm sure you've been here for a while, but you got to realize I tried to kill myself at the end of 2019. I got fired from one of the biggest radio shows in the Tampa area, and now I've been regulated to Podcast Willie. So, Beth, I probably have not seen you. You've probably been there for a while. I'm going to digress because now I'm just sounding like an idiot. Be back in a few minutes. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Great news, folks. You now have the chance to see the face in front of that sexy voice. Right you are, sir. The Tuddle Daily Podcast streams Monday to Friday on YouTube. anything can happen at the Hobo Fish Camp. Okay. Okay, sir. That's enough. Okay. So go to youtube.com/Tuddle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime Tuddle goes live. Good job, sir. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Compliments? Or do you just want to tell Tuddle to fuck off? In any event, contact Tuddle. Tuddle@gmail.com. It's Tuddle with 2 Ds, dumbass.
My next guest is Vikram. Now, Vikram, how do you pronounce your last name? See, I don't ever want to butcher like my guest's name and stuff, but Vikram, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Deol.
Deol. See, I should have just been able to pronounce that, but like a dumb American, I'm like, I want to make sure that, like I don't like offend him with his last name and stuff. But Vikram, how are you today, Vikram?
Pretty awesome. I'm pretty hard to offend as well. So you gotta try a little bit harder.
Well, I'm sure I could easily do that. Now, Vikram, where are you calling from?
I'm in Central California right now, but I'll be moving down south here pretty soon to the LA area.
Oh, okay. See, now when you say south, it's like, everybody, as soon as you say south, they're like, oh man, Vikram, is going to the deep south. But no, you're just going to Southern California, which is a little bit even, it's really not even considered like the South when you're talking about America.
No, we're definitely on the West Coast.
Yeah. Now, Vikram, tell people how they can check out any of your content, your website, social media, any stuff like that before we get into the interview.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you can find me on Instagram under Coach Vikram Deol, and then we're revamping our website. So depending on when this thing launches, it's just my first name and last name, vikramdeol.com, and that's where you can see the different courses that I offer and some of the different coaching and group coaching and consulting programs that I offer.
Now, in your bio, you call yourself a serial entrepreneur. All right. Now, as soon as I see serial, I always think serial killer and stuff like it. Are you like one of those people that can just adapt to their surroundings? A person that can just jump into things and make it seem like they fit in. I know that maybe might seem like a weird question, but I mean that's kind of what serial killers do. They adapt. They're able to fit in.
I mean, I think serial entrepreneur is just a fancy way of saying that I'm unemployable.
Yeah, that's then you know what? Then I'm a serial entrepreneur as well too. So I think we both have something in common.
Yeah, no. So I guess as a kid, I've always been really into making money, having my own business. My dad had his own medical practice as a kid, and I would walk in, and if somebody was trying to give me a shot, I'm like, you can't give me a shot. My dad owns the place. I'm going to fire you. So I guess I've always been kind of just naturally, charismatic because I could say things in a way that didn't make them like beat the hell out of me and, pin me down to the ground. They would always laugh and, we'd joke around and they're like, you were the highlight of our day when you would come in because you're just full of energy. I definitely think that I see the world in a different view than what most people can see the world in. I see business differently. I'm not the guy you want to give a bunch of detailed work to get done. I will delegate that and outsource it as fast as you give it to me. And I'm the guy.
Are you a little bit of an ADHD guy? Like kind of like, I don't know. Like I kind of get that little bit of a feeling because like I consider myself as a hard worker and stuff. But also at the same time, I will procrastinate on just the dumbest things in the world.
I hate doing busy work, it's one of the most important parts of the day, but I just am not the person to do it. But then if I tell my team like, hey, let's think about the big picture, they don't even know where to start. I'm like, hey, why don't we do instead of, $10 million in sales, why don't we go for 25 this month? And they're like, whoa, that's crazy. Like nobody's ever done that. I'm like, yeah, no, people have done that before. We just haven't done it. Yeah. Like they just don't have that vision to see past what they've already done. And so they're great at paperwork. Like, I make mistakes on paperwork all the time, like spelling people's names wrong. Cause my brain thinks faster than it can put things down.
Yep.
And so I'm really good at certain things, and I'm not
Big
great at other
ideas.
things.
You're
Yeah.
good at the big ideas, the overall picture. Like
And
you
I'm
have the
great at
vision.
Yeah, and I'm great at like seeing how the cup is broken. It's like, okay, here's where there's a leak, here's where there's a leak, here's where there's a leak. Why is there a leak there? Right? Like I ask the questions that nobody wants.
Do you consider yourself a good judgment of talent? Like you're able to find somebody that you could be like, oh man, that person is very, very talented. I can use them on my team.
That's a trick question there, my friend. So yes and no. I'm a great judge of character and talent, but I'm also an optimist that thinks that everybody can do great.
And you get burned.
And so I have a process. I just
do.
pull the emotion out of it. Yeah, you just pull the emotion out of it, and then you don't get burned. And when I coach clients, it's the same thing. They're like, well, I really like this person, but I'm like, there's a but in there. If there's a but, that's not.
Then you don't need them.
Yeah,
no.
You're justifying because you're emotionally involved with them because you had a great conversation. Now you're trying to use logic, but you can't find it. But you're emotionally. It's just like, do you need a Rolex or do you need a Timex or a Casio or a Nikon? Like
No,
you don't need. But you want it, so you're justifying it with the logical brain's trying to justify the emotional purchase.
Now, Vikram, let me ask you though: does that stem from probably somebody in your past giving you a chance, and you're trying to pay it forward, and that's maybe why sometimes you have maybe your emotions got in the way of finding somebody that you're working with?
Great question again, man. You are just full of great questions this afternoon. Yes and no. I think we all get chances. I've always been the underdog. I've always been kind of whether I was nerdy or just self-proclaimed nerdy. I wasn't the athlete. I, didn't have a ton of friends. And so I think
God, you sound like Indy and me almost. Like seriously. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't mean to like say that in a bad way, but I mean,
no offense taken.
No, you really, really do, because like I was, are you an only child?
No, I have an older and a younger brother. I'm the middle child.
See, I'm an only child as well too,
okay.
and I'm also a victim of childhood trauma as well too.
I think all of us are.
Yeah, and I want to get into that because I really don't think people put a lot of thought into, People want to talk about why is there so much violence and stuff going on? Why is there so much hate? Why is there so much bad stuff going on? And I really, really think that people don't pay enough attention to mental illness. I don't think enough people pay attention to what happens to kids at a young age, because those are the age that set us up for the future. And in most cases, you don't get success stories like yourself, that have gone through that type of stuff, because people are bitter. People want payback. People want retribution for what happened to them as kids. And how were you able to get past that?
Therapy, self-development, going to jail, having a divorce, walking away from a 7-figure business that I built myself. I never say I build anything from scratch, because I always have people helping me, but building a business with some great people and then walking away from it. And just realizing like this was a pattern, right? And if I didn't change the pattern, I was going to end up either dead or living in a tent under a freeway, because I was just on a self-destruction trajectory.
Yeah. See, because I have ruined so many relationships. I have ruined so many business relationships as well too, because I always felt like I tended to burn bridges sometimes. Yeah. I don't know if that was in your case, but I lashed out
all the time.
And I always wondered what was wrong with me. Like, why do you keep doing dumb stuff like this? And it took until I spent 11 days in an institution, in a hospital, because I was Baker acted, to be able to realize that.
You were what?
I was Baker acted for 11 days because I tried to harm myself.
Yeah.
And that was my awakening. That was because I was like, you know what? You're doing all this stuff. You're not making excuses of why you do the dumb shit that you do, but there is a reason why you do it though. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, so if you look from a childhood perspective, from 0 to 6 years old is when all of the real trauma happens and all the real programming in our lives happens. So from 0 to 6, whatever you grew up with becomes your reality, and you just embody that as a 20 and a 30 and a 40 and a 50, a 60, a 70, 80, 90-year-old. So our phones, our computers are always updating. The programs are always updating. They're always updating the terms of service. They're always updating the agreements, right?
Yeah, I need a software update. Like I need that control alt delete like Microsoft thing so I can just like hard reboot myself a little bit.
Well, I don't think you need that, Tuddle. I think what you need is I think you're doing the work, but it's people just not realizing that, like you said, people don't realize that their childhood has such an impact on their adulthood.
It does. People in America, though, we look at mental illness, and I'm not saying you're mentally ill if you're a victim of childhood trauma, but it does cause mental trauma. Okay. And what I'm saying is that here in this country, our mental health issue is a joke. Everybody wants to talk about what can we do to stop these mass shootings and stuff. You can make all the gun control you want to, but if we started it, yeah, but if you paid more attention to mental illness and getting to the root of the problem, it would do away with. I'm not saying it would do away with all of it because there are just sick people out there, but it would help.
Well, if we want to get into a different line of conversation around mental health, if you think about the brain, and I've studied the brain, not like a doctor, but I've studied the brain, I've done NLP, the amygdala, which is the back part of our brain, is the fight or flight. That's a much larger part of our brain than the frontal lobe, which is all the creativity. And because we're always scared of fight or flight, we always have to protect ourselves. That takes all the nutrition. Well, if you look at the standard American diet, which I call SAD, SAD, standard American diet, we don't have a lot of nutrition in there to begin with, and it doesn't get to the part of our brain that needs it. So our brain is constantly deprived of nutrition. Then we're giving it a bunch of oils that break everything down. We're giving it a bunch of, grain
processed foods.
Yeah. I mean, everything in there comes down to it. And so we live in a world of, we lived in this pandemic for the last 15 months, but nothing changed. Nothing changed except for people now are putting, experimental vaccines into their body that are changing the DNA.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about it. So you got to be careful with all the podcasting and stuff that you do now with the cancel culture. I can't come out and just say like anything bad about the vaccines, but because you could easily, I got shadow banned on Twitter for like 3 weeks because of some of my views on COVID and stuff.
LinkedIn
and the vaccine. What's that now?
LinkedIn banned me because, I don't know why, but I got banned from LinkedIn and I'm fighting to get my account back.
But now, okay, I want to get into that. But my dad has been in the hospital for almost a month now, after getting the second Moderna shot. And he went from being very coherent, very in the right state of mind to full on dementia in less than a couple of days.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It is not Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's is a progressive disease. Like it happens.
They would have picked it up. You would have picked it up. Somebody would have noticed it much, 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 much sooner than just overnight.
Yeah, but one of the doctors even said it was like, we've already treated a couple of people that have completely not gone crazy, but just have lost all their mental facilities or faculties.
Holy crap.
When it comes to stuff like that. And it just makes me angry because, I really feel like we were caught with our pants down with this whole pandemic stuff. Okay. and it usually takes a couple of years for these vaccines to get where they need to be.
5-10
and
years.
we really rushed this. We did rush this.
Well, it's not FDA approved. It's actually, so I invested heavily into a stem cell company about 5 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago now, and they were supposed to get FDA approval and this and that and this and that, and it's too controversial, right? But the results, they've taken people that were, excuse the French, but essentially a vegetable, and they made this kid walk and talk and play soccer again. And there's hundreds, if not thousands now, of cases of the same thing happening. One of our parents' friends had a stroke, and the doctor said he's never going to walk again, leave alone golf again. 3 treatments, 6 months later, the guy's on a golf course.
Look,
but it's too controversial because it's stem cells. But we can put a vaccine that's changing the DNA of our human society. And anytime said anything up until last year, it was all propaganda, and it's all. I mean, I don't know what this is, where we're going with this, but it's all propaganda, and it's all there to control people. Because how do you control a large population of people? You get them to police each other. You get them to have fear.
You divide them,
and then you conquer. It's not called divide and have fun. It's called divide and conquer. And then when they take all the guns from the people who think differently, then what happens? Well, now you have a police state. And if you look back in history, what happened?
Nazi Germany, they took all the guns.
Holy shit! Holy shit! Look at Rwanda. We have movies about it, but this new culture, this cancel culture, and this young generation where they have not seen true hardships because their lives have been so effing easy.
Oh, don't even get me started on that here in the United States.
We need a 4-hour.
I know. Don't even get me started on that. I have this little theory that, here in the United States, you get all these big websites, these gore websites. The people that are the ones that are watching that the most are the Americans, because they live so much of a sheltered life. And then you look at all the other countries and stuff. You bring up Rwanda, not a lot of people even realize what happened in Rwanda. Unless they saw the movie Hotel Rwanda, with Don Cheadle and stuff. But for the most part, it's like people don't know the atrocities going on. I guarantee you, half of the Americans right now don't even know what's going on in Tel Aviv versus Hamas and Israel. That's, I'm just being honest.
Well, we're a very ignorant culture. We think we're intelligent, and we think we're sophisticated. We think we're better. But the things that we worry about are very, very, very first world problems, if you want to call it that. They're very selfish. They're very self-centered. And it's for a reason. It's not because they want to make the world better. It's because they want to keep us divided. And they want to, anytime the government says turn left, I'm always going to look to the right and say, what the hell is coming out of the right that we don't see? And when they start canceling people, when they've never canceled people before, they start canceling public figures left and right because of a difference of opinion. I go down deep rabbit holes. It's not good for my business. But if you look at who the COVID and the what do they call it? The independent fact checkers are. Yeah. Look at the sponsors of the independent fact checkers. It's the same people that support this.
It's big pharmaceutical, probably.
Pharma, it's Facebook, it's tech, it's Twitter. It's all the people that are canceling you. They all are the ones supporting. Well, if it's an independent fact checker, right? And then I'm trying not to swear.
You can swear all you want to. Swear all you want to.
Who the fuck is the person that's out there that's fact checking? Because what people don't realize, even if you look at a study, if you look at it at a medical study, there are biases by the publication, and there are biases from the people that create the studies, and they have a thesis that they're trying to prove. So if you look at Netflix, if you look at the movie Game Changers, which is all about the vegetarian lifestyle, what are they trying to prove? And you're like, wait a minute, hold on. You give one guy McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then you give the other guy organic fruits and vegetables. Well, it's a no-brainer. The guy on the organics is going to produce better than the guy that just ate Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, but also a lot of people don't realize this is, going a vegetarian lifestyle, what it also does. I mean, there are good things and bad things about all this stuff. Everybody wants to talk, it's healthier and it's better for the environment for you to go like, organic vegetables. But no, I mean, you guys are kind of using up a lot of land that could be used for other things, like you're taking the nutrients out of the soil. So yeah, there are
off
pros
of the
and
water.
Yeah. There's so many pros and cons to everything. On the line with me right now is Vikram Deol, correct? Deal.
Deal.
Tuddle,
sorry.
It's
okay. Deal.
I'm sorry. Listen, you want me to be honest?
I like it when people lie because that's the culture we live in. Just fucking lie all day long.
No, I'm not lying.
I'm teasing you, brother. I'm teasing you.
I'm sitting in a small little hick town, in my Ford F-150 pickup truck, doing this interview on a high Wi-Fi hotspot. Like, a lot of people don't realize this is that I will put my podcast up against any of the other ones because I've got 22 years of broadcasting experience, and I don't need all the expensive equipment that all these other people need. These people that think, oh, I got to spend a couple $1,000s on this nice expensive equipment. Hell no, I'll put my sound, my content up against any of those people out there because I know that I'm that much better than them. So I do apologize. I'm sitting by a railroad track. There is a bunch of bums picking out of a Goodwill dumpster right across the street. Good for them too. I ate garbage pizza for the first time the other day, Vikram. And by garbage pizza, I was at the flea market, and I've been hanging out with these new friends that have kind of been like living off the street. And they're like, hell yeah, you go to the flea market at a certain time because they're throwing away all the good food that's still warm and stuff in the box. And we went picking through the garbage, and I tell you, I ate garbage pizza for the first time the other day, and I got to tell you, you know what? I was like, this is kind of like the lifestyle. I know that some people, you're a business guy and stuff, but I just think about what money, and I don't want people to think like I'm a liberal, like hardcore person, but I also feel like, money is just, it's not worth the money that the paper it's printed on. Like, how stressful would it be if we just, you went to talking about flight or flight stuff? What if the only thing we had to worry about is our survival every single day? Just food, shelter, water, reproduction.
I mean, so I went down a deep rabbit hole. I had a business that was generating $1.5 million in revenue, and it was very profitable for me. And it was I built it to be hands off for me, pretty much like 75% of the time. I put the systems, the people, everything into place. And, sure, I could make money if I did anything myself, but I would have got burnt out quicker. And then I was like, oh, money's the root of all evil, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then I went down a spiritual path, and I went down some different rabbit holes. So now I'm back where I'm like, money is actually a great tool. It's just who has
to be able to
the
make
tool.
change, though. But you can make a lot of change with money.
If you have a bad guy with a hammer, and you have a architect, or I'm sorry, a mason or somebody like with the hammer, one guy uses it to break windows and steal and rob. The other guy uses it to make beautiful structures that everybody goes, oh my God, that's amazing. So who has the tool is really what matters. So money is nothing more than a tool. It's man-made. It's created by us. It's given power by us. And it's the only thing that it matters is that who has it. So if you're somebody who wants to do good for your society, like I know people during the pandemic who gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to their local hospitals so that they could buy ventilators and get more beds and get more safety equipment because the government had failed us, right? The same government that's telling us that we have your back is the same government that failed the people when they needed it the most. And now they're telling you to do these things. People, like, you got to wake the fuck up and smell the goddamn fucking coffee. Like, holy shit.
No,
and
you do.
And now the people with money are the same people that are giving back to the community when the community's throwing the hammer at the windows and breaking down the small businesses. Nobody's going to the Amazon distribution center and tearing that apart, but they're going down Main Street and they're fucking up mom and pop shops.
The small
left
business.
and right.
Yeah.
Portland and Seattle defunded the police millions and millions and millions of dollars. Now, Seattle's my old hometown. or it's my old city I lived in, Bellevue, Seattle area. Well, guess what? The police officers aren't coming back to work for them because they said, we've been pushed around one too many times.
Why
by
would
you guys.
you? Why would you?
Portland has more homicides than they've ever had because they defunded the police by like $10 million. Well, now they're giving the police millions and millions of dollars to try to bring them back up to speed. And what we're doing is it's like, oh my God, there's one bad apple in each bushel. So instead of taking out the one bad apple and throwing that away, what the idiots on the streets are saying is, let's throw away all the apples and see what happens. Let's just throw them on the ground too. Like, let's not dispose of them properly. Let's just throw them on the ground. Well, then you get rats and you get cockroaches and you get all the, right? People don't realize that there's a counterbalance. Sorry.
No, Vikram. No. I know you're going on. I know. Listen, hey, a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but I mean, what about the kid? I think it was out in Arizona who was a white, as Caucasian as you can get, did some dumbass stuff, but was killed by that police officer, that had it inscribed on his rifle. It said, "You're fucked," or something like that. I don't know if you remember that one, but the kid was so scared crawling through the hallway. Look, there are a few bad apples when it comes to any group of people. There really, really are. But nobody likes to talk about that one as well either. Like, it happens to both sides. Now, of
course,
one question I wanted to ask. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, last question before we go, because like I said, I could sit here and like you said earlier, we could sit here and talk forever about this stuff. But I also don't want people to label me as Alex Jones or Art Bell, one of these conspiracy theory type guys. But actually, I do have two questions. One question is, okay, is there going to have to be some type of regulation? Back when our forefathers created our Bill of Rights, the first, all the amendments and stuff, they didn't realize, hey, guess what? In the future, there's going to be this box, and this box, people are going to get their news. It's going to be moving pictures. I know they didn't sound like that back in the day, but what I'm trying to say is that, they eventually had to create the FCC to regulate the media, which they're doing a piss poor job of it right now.
Right.
In my opinion, and it also comes down to the people that consume the news media. Like, if you watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, any of those people, and you take that as hardcore journalistic fact, then you're an idiot. Like, I mean, that is opinionated news at its best.
You said it, not me.
And yeah, but what I'm trying to say though is, like, does there need to be some type of regulation when it comes to social media? Because yes, I know it is a private company. I know when you sign up, it says, you can be kicked off at any time for such and such. But I mean, we are a country where our most important amendment is the First Amendment. Do there need to be changes made?
That's such a loaded question, because who regulates the regulations? Because everybody's got a bias. And so if you get a bunch of people that support one side or the other, do we actually have regulation, or do we just have more biases, right? What do we actually get by regulating these people?
I say let it eat. I let it eat. What I mean by let it eat is just let everything, just let it rip. Let it rip. I believe, the true definition of the First Amendment is the protection of unpopular speech. That's the definition of it. The protection of unpopular speech.
And that's the first time I've heard that, and I actually love it, because we don't need to protect the popular people. The popular people are the ones that are, in this culture where if you have a difference of opinion, you are considered the enemy of the state. And it's like, wait a minute, why am I considered negative just because, right? Like, why am I considered so bad just because I think differently than you? I remember my grandpa would get in arguments with people. I thought they were going to fight, and then they would have a glass of whiskey together. And I remember back in the day, I'd see my friends. I was always the skinny kid, but my friends would fight somebody, and then a couple
They would
hours
be
later,
friends.
we'd be smoking a joint with this guy. I was like, I thought
Dude,
we were gonna kill him. As he's like,
Vikram,
nah, man, we just got angry.
Two of my best friends growing up in high school are guys that beat the absolute shit out of me. Like, no, but you want me to be honest though? I got their respect because I didn't back down. Like, even though I was a smaller, nerdy, skinnier kid, I did not back down. I took the challenge, even though I got the shit beat out of me. Guess what? We shook hands and we became. I still talk to my best friends, Derek and Howard, every single day, and both of those guys I got into fights with, and they beat the piss out of me.
I mean, it's just a crazy world that we live in. It's a crazy world that we live in, where people are so quick to judge. They're so quick to talk smack. They're so quick to cancel you out. I've lost people that, I guess they weren't true friends, but I have people who I thought we were kind of friendly. Nope. They're like, oh my God, you're not wearing a mask. You're not doing. I said, I don't see enough people to wear one. They're like, you're killing people. You're keeping businesses shut down. I said, have you ever studied the coronavirus? No. So do you know that the average coronavirus lasts somewhere between 12 to 24 months, and then it automatically burns itself out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? I was like, look at your Lysol bottle. You think that they just created chemicals that say killing coronavirus? And
no, it does
everything?
say coronavirus on the back. A lot of people don't know that. Like, on the back of Lysol, it does say
people don't listen to it. They don't study. They don't read. They don't do anything. They just simply talk about whatever they hear. Oh, Trump said bleach. We need to drink. It's sad that we don't even have the ability to look 2 clicks deeper into what people are saying. People won't even click on a link because it's too much work. That's how lazy we are as society.
Well, we have to do our own research though. We have to read. We have to read other sources, and I think that we're not doing that though. We're not doing that though.
No, why? Because we don't have to. Because if you're part of the 70%ers that, that's what they call themselves. If you're part of the
I've only heard the 1%ers, but I haven't heard of the 70%ers. Like, please and tell.
Well, that's what Biden wants. I call it the 70%ers because Biden says that 70% vaccinated, we can go back to lives without masks. And then somebody told me this morning, and I haven't verified it myself yet, but I don't see why she would have a reason to lie to me. She said that.
Is this one of your side chicks? Is this one of your side chicks or something? Like, no, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what we call. I call my side chicks just friends too. Okay.
She's just a friend. And so we were going to the gym this morning, and I said, hey, we got to work out outside. I got to do a workout outside, shirt off, vitamin D. And she said,
I bet she was wanting some of that vitamin D. Okay. I'm just joking with you. That was a dumbass joke. Anyway,
I wouldn't mind. I'm actually doing a 75-day transmutation of sexual energy thing. So I'm actually
no masturbation at all either, too?
Nothing.
Oh, man.
It's been a great experience.
Dude, listen, I had a year of that shit when I was on all the psychotropic mood stabilizing drugs. I thought I was just paying attention to my work. But no, it was the drugs that was basically killing my sex drive at the time.
Oh, my sex drive is rocking and rolling. Let me tell you.
Yeah, but if you're on all those psychotropic drugs, sometimes it
kills people. I mean, all the drugs do is kill your microbiome. But what Joe Biden said is that if you don't, and I'm going to verify. Oh, I may or may not. I don't care. But he said if you don't get vaccinated, there will be repercussions.
Oh, I after the stuff with my dad, I'm debating on getting it. I really am.
I mean, what's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of it? It's the same thing as wearing a cloth mask. Now, if they mandated that everybody wore a KN95 filtered system, and you had to, they recommended
the ones that really work,
and they recommended that you replaced it 2 to 3 times a day. Every time you take it off and put it in a purse, or you're standing around with your face uncovered for a long period of time, because if there's corona outside and you're sitting down in a restaurant eating and then you put it back on and the mask has been outside of a protective package, what do you think lands inside of it, you dumb fucks?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so, people say, and you know what everybody says that I've talked to? They said, well, it doesn't make sense. I said, then why do you do it? Well, it makes everybody else feel good. What if we all just stopped making everybody feel good and we just spoke the damn truth? What would happen, Tuddle? I don't know. Maybe we would have a real conversation and be like, wait, what's actually happening? But they don't want you to talk about it because they want to genetically mutate our bodies. I don't know why, but there's a reason out there and it'll show up eventually and it's not good.
Yeah, Vikram, like I tell people, one of my favorite things every single day, is when somebody is able to change my opinion or my mind on a topic. I love it. I love it every single day. Anybody that can give me an opinion or fact that helps me change my mind, I love it. I don't need to be right.
What
I mean by is like if somebody is able to give me a piece of fact or is able to change my mind, a lot of people don't like to be wrong on things.
Sure,
is what I'm
sure.
trying to say. Is like if you can change my mind on something, I absolutely love it.
I would change your mind on. I would say that we need to change our minds and our thought process on how we went from 2019, where everybody hated anything that the government said, to 2021, where we now drip on their every thought. And we how did this happen? When 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when they said do something, we all questioned it. And now when they say do something, we question those who don't. What changed? What changed? Like nothing really changed in our world.
Fear.
Exactly. Because what do we have playing all day long is wear this, do this, do this. You're going to die. I've had people straight tell me I'm killing people. And I'm like, do you guys realize that I take more supplements a day than you drink ounces
I drink
of
water. I take my vitamins every single day. I do everything that I need to do. Now, Vikram, I could sit here and talk to you forever, but my producer is telling me to wrap it up. So I want to get you on the line again because I highly, highly enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I mean, I try not to get too political because it's not good for business, but I also, in the same token, think that there's got to be people fighting for our freedoms.
Cancel culture. You said token.
Yep.
You can't say that with cancel culture right now.
What did I say?
You said token. Here in the South, they have a word. A stereotypical token is more like stereotypical. Oh, that's a token black guy. Have you ever watched South Park? Yeah, they call the guy token. So that's what I'm saying. Cancel culture, dude, you're done with.
Yeah, well, you know what? I got here's the thing. There's plenty of people that I market to that actually have businesses that actually can afford to pay me my fee, that believe the same thing because they're kind of sick of what's going on. And so there's plenty of people, that believe what I believe. And so I feel like I am a freedom fighter, just like anybody else that speaks up against the norm. And guess what? I might be wrong, right? I might be wrong, but at least I gave an opinion that felt right at the time.
You stood out there. You weren't going with the group. You weren't going with the herd.
It's herd mentality,
like a bunch
100%.
of sheep. Yeah, you were voicing your own opinion, and that's what is great about this country is that yes, we got a lot of dumbass. Yeah, but we do have a lot of dumbasses. But you know what? That's what's great about America is that dumbasses all have opinions.
And like I say, if I'm wrong, I'll tell you. Like, damn, I was off chart. Like, I guess my gut feeling was off, right, in 2020 and 2021. And I went out to some of the rallies. I showed up to some of the things, and I saw what was happening, and it just, I felt so like deceived and dirty, and just it made me look into it. I didn't just start looking into it for the sake of looking into these things. I started looking into them because I actually went out and said, let me see why people are so riled up, and like, let me see how they're behaving out there. And I saw what they were saying and what they were doing, and I talked to the kids and the adults out there, you know, when I say kids, they're like 22, 23-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I said, why are we behaving the way we're behaving? And it's like, well, Black Lives Matter. I said, I get it. I'm a minority myself. I am a minority. I understand. But don't we think all lives matter instead of dividing people? Because if you say one group matters, you're saying the other group doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I said, why don't we talk about being more inclusive or being exclusive? We're excluding other people. And they're like, well, you don't know what it's like. I said, you're right, I don't. And neither do you. And you're sitting here living in a nice house. You go home to a nice car. Why don't you go out into the neighborhood where you're trying to fight for people and see what they want, right? Like ask them how they want you to represent them. Like
exactly.
But people just want to talk and they don't want to actually do the work. And equality is never going to happen because there is no such thing as equality.
No. Hey, Vikram, I appreciate the conversation, man. Tell people once again how they can check out your information.
Oh, I don't talk this much stuff about this everywhere, but you can go on to on Instagram. Just find me there. Send me some hate mail.
All right, Vikram. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm going to have my producer be in touch with you on again.
Cool, brother. Have a great one. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Bye.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Sirach. Show voiceover services brought to you by jcvoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuddle@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuddle social media, go to Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
A society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they know they will never sit in. Good people do things for other people. That's it, the end.